Hey. Welcome to episode 58 of Talking Trash. I am Tim, and I'm an alcoholic and an addict. Everything else, too. It's National Candy Corn Day. We're real excited about that. Let's see. We're going to be talking about trauma and forgiveness this evening. Not that one goes in hand with the other. They can, but that's not the point. We're just hanging out. It is October 30th, day before Halloween. And, I don't know. We're just kind of getting our footing. We're doing our thing. Trauma comes usually if you are an addict, you've experienced some kind of trauma, or you are self-medicating for a specific reason, and you didn't just wake up one day and go, hey, I want to shoot heroin in my arm. That sounds like a great idea. There's a reason you started to do that, and then it became the solution to our problems, and then it became the problem itself with no solution. So it's just addiction sucks, and I'm lucky that I'm able to sit here and talk today. A lot of people aren't. So we're just here to kind of spread the message that recovery is possible, but only by living recovery. There's a big difference between being sober and being in recovery. Sobriety, just being sober, usually ends up with a relapse. You're not actively participating in your life and your own recovery. You can find yourself on the other side of the dirt, and that's happening way too much. So that's why we do this podcast. We try to connect with as many people as we can. We connect with a lot of people off the air. Like the podcast really starts when it stops, and that's for sure. I mean, I can tell you right now that I've been through it. I've been through it with everybody. Where I've been, where you're at, I've been there, and hopefully you can get to where I'm at. And where I'm at is not the greatest place in the world, but I'm still breathing. So that's important. We need to keep our focus on that. At Talkin Trash, we hold AA and NA principles up. Anonymity is the foundation for our purpose and what we do. We have a lot of friends that are NA, AA. We have a lot of people that are CA. So there's a lot of different ways to look at this, ways to attach it. It's not one size fits all for everybody at all. Mental health is a big big thing that's going on, because there's a reason you self-medicate in the first place. If you can't get to the point where you're addressing that reason, you're probably going to continue to do what you were doing in the past to make yourself feel better, to medicate yourself. So let's get into it. We're going to do our preamble, and then we'll bring Mikey in here. This is our humble broadcast, where ethics and personal anonymity are of the utmost importance. We run this podcast as an act of service to those whose lives have been affected by addiction. We don't do it for profit or notoriety. We place principles before personalities. We benefit from this podcast just as much as anyone else. We all work programs and choose to sacrifice our own anonymity to spread the message that recovery is possible. We do this thing in an attempt to show as living examples that no matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. Not only is that the 9-step promise, it's our creed we abide by here on Talkin Trash. We feel called to uphold AA and NA principles. We firmly believe that you can only keep what you have by giving it away. Please join us for a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Alrighty, let's go around and meet the team real quick before we get started. First on deck, we got Mike Oxley. Mike is a long-time addiction recovery nurse. He's seen the recovery landscape change over the years. And you got Tim Snyder. I don't know, there's definitely something wrong with this guy, but he's been through it all, and through his experience, he offers solid guidance to those in recovery and those touched by the disease. Alright, boys and girls, let's go around the horn and check in with everybody. Hey, Mikey.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I just want to say one thing about the trauma and the self-medication. It doesn't have to be trauma. It's the only reason you self-medicate. It's anxiety. People self-medicate. Depression.
Oh,
not
for sure.
necessarily
Did I
a
word it like?
traumatic event.
Well,
No,
I mean, oh
I
yeah,
just want to differentiate between the trauma and forgiveness part. You know,
yeah. We're gonna yeah. When we usually do topics, we try to knock out a couple at a time. We usually don't even get to one, but yeah, like you said, trauma is not the only reason you self medicate. Usually, I mean, that's usually an for me. It was a post event. You know, I self
and it was mental
medicated.
illness a lot of
Yeah,
times.
for sure.
And when I say mental illness, I'm not talking about straight jacket. I'm talking about anxiety, depression, things like that. Being in a bad marriage, things like that. Why you self medicate to deal with somebody?
Sure. And you know, it's a candy dish. Forgive the pun of different reasons you end up becoming an addict or
I like candy corn, by the way.
I do too, but like
I'm one of the. We are one of the few. I bet you we're the only podcast in America that both hosts enjoy candy corn.
well, it really depends on what candy corn you get. Like if you get like Brock's, I think it
Yeah,
was, that was the
yeah,
old
Brock's.
that one. See, there's other candy corn that are basically Crayola crayons and
All right.
so like yeah, it's I like candy corn. I didn't start liking it till I became 35, 40 years old. So, so yeah, anyway, what we talk about addiction and relapse and a big part of it is trauma. Big part of it is what you if you're already predisposed as depressed or anxious, if that's a medical condition, that's where dual diagnosis comes in, and it can be very muddy, as you try to figure out what's what and how you got there, and that's what we're here to try to do. We're not licensed. Well, Mike's a nurse. Mike is. I'm just an addict, just sharing my story, and I'm in the middle of it. So I don't have all the answers. I just I share my thing and I do my thing, and we have a great fan base here. I wouldn't say fan base. I'd say listener base. Lot of loyal people. We got them on clean time. We have I think we provide a service that's necessary. Especially with that clean time. We have so many people that rely on us to mark their milestones in sobriety, and you know normal people are like 90 days. What's that? I don't care. That's what's a big deal? That's a for people in recovery, 90 days is a gigantic feat. So
Oh yeah.
it's important that we keep that at the forefront. What did I want to do here? Oh, yeah, this is funny. Um, Colin Farrell, right? This guy, he's 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 been around forever, for like 20
Yeah.
years, right? So I'm just starting to watch. I'm watching a few shows like now. Um, all of a sudden, this guy is everywhere. He's the alien guy in Sugar on HBO. He's the Penguin on on HBO Max. He's like wears a penguin suit. He's ridiculous. And then this is why I bring him up. The other day, there's a picture of him pushing his friend Emma Fogarty, who lives with a rare skin condition.
Saw that
So this guy's unbelievable.
in the marathon.
Yeah, he's
Runs the marathon, two current shows. Crazy.
yeah, that's unbelievable. So he's something else. He's I this she has he's from Ireland. And his friend Emma Fogarty has uh this skin condition called butterfly skin. Epidermolysis bullosa. I don't know, but yeah, this guy's unbelievable. He's just wherever he goes, he spreads mirth.
That's good.
Yeah, I was surprised to see him. He's that Penguin show I'm watching is awesome. It's really good. So he's let's see what else is going on. All right, so yeah, well, so we'll get into it real quick. Right, today is National Publicist Day, National Wicked Day, National Candy Corn Day,
Nope.
um, National Texture X Day. I don't think I'll be doing
I don't
that.
think that's a good idea.
Um, and National Pumpkin Bread Day. Pumpkin bread is disgusting, so that's where I stand on that. What you got family coming in, Mike? What's going on at your house?
Yeah, actually, family on their way right now. The pregnant one with her husband and my granddog will be here in a few hours. They're currently on the ferry that'll bring them into Cape May, New Jersey, and then
Oh,
we're about 45 minutes to an hour from there. So they are on the Cape May ferry as we speak. They're coming here for a couple days, and remember, his family is up here also. So there's some things that need to be done. Um, we didn't know, or I'm sure April would have had the shower then,
Yeah.
you know. But it's okay, you know. She's so big. She has to be uncomfortable. She's so big.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're going through something new, there could be a piece of this that she wants her mommy.
Sure.
You're going
No.
through something. I still call my mommy, tell her I have a fever.
Yeah. I do too. My mommy's right on the other side of the door.
Right.
Mommy, I need ibuprofen.
But back to what you were saying about the self medication. You can essentially be sober, and you touched on this earlier. And we are big proponents. You and I both are about the mental health aspect. If you're not going to work on that, you're only sober right now. You're not in recovery.
Right.
So I don't want people to think that I went in there, got an oil change, spent 15 days in rehab, I'm off the booze. If if you're not prepared to deal with the other things that made you self medicate, your chances of success are seriously diminished.
Yeah, for sure. Without a doubt.
And it takes a relapse to figure that out. If it's the same old things going on, the same old, I'm just trying to think of some traumatic events, and traumatic events vary between everyone. It could be everything from, a sexual event. It can be the death of a family. There's so many traumatic events. I think Google has like the 20 most stressful, and I'm going to take stressful as traumatic. The top 20 stressful things that can happen to you due to the mental health. And I think moving, changing jobs, um, loss of a spouse. I mean, there's a whole list of things, but you know, everybody can pick that up as traumatic, but you can also say it's different for everybody. That
Right.
scale should be different for everybody.
Sure. It's not just addicts that experience traumatic events. I mean, we
Right.
addicts use because of traumatic events, but everybody, we're all human beings. We've all experienced the death of a loved one, or divorce, or loss of a job, or major illness, or being incarcerated, or retirement, or whatever. Um, those are all traumatic events that can cause addicts to fly off the wagon here. And,
Look
and
at me. I admitted a few episodes ago that in the back of my mind, I have it planned that when something does happen to my mom, she's 80, going to be 81 in a couple weeks. I'm going to buy a pack of cigarettes the first second I can, which
smart.
is ridiculous to say. I'm a year and a half off of cigarettes now. I have no real urges, but I've planned my relapse of cigarettes already, which is scaring me a little bit.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's great. Yeah.
Thanks.
For me, I'm just like, I don't smoke anymore. I don't know how that happened. I just don't smoke anymore. I'm
Well,
it's
I
it's,
had a
it's
major stroke with a cigarette in my mouth,
oh, I know.
so
I know.
that would make me. I was done that day. If that's what it took, that's what it took. But yeah, I'm almost planning my relapse, which is not a good thing. I had to talk to my mental health therapist about that plan I have.
I'm looking at I'm very distracted. On my StreamYard, it says we have 76 people watching. On my phone, it says I have 2 people watching. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't like. I just
I'd go with the higher number,
meh.
and maybe two of them just happen to be your friends or something.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, if anybody wants
Hey,
to
we're
ask,
live, right?
yeah, we're live. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, we're not a live show, so we're not get a ton of viewership. We don't. I decided I was going to go live an hour ago, and
Yeah, we
you
don't
know,
promote it.
so I'm just doing it to see what's what, and we record the show anyway, so why not just let you watch us fumble over ourselves before I edit it. We have, let's see. So we're going to talk about trauma and forgiveness, and 2 very different things, but they can be compatible when needed. You know, like Mike was saying, we'll talk about trauma first. This is me. I did all this. I'm not a PhD. I'm actually a moron, but at the same time, I'm doing this through an addict's eyes. Yeah, I did a lot of Googling and whatever. But I put it together how it made sense to me, hoping that other addicts can identify with it.
Relate.
So
Hmm.
So I brought it down to acute trauma, chronic trauma, and complex trauma. So as we look at it, acute trauma is a single unexpected and stressful event, such as a violent assault, sexual assault, or natural disaster. Chronic trauma is repeated and prolonged exposure to stressful events such as domestic violence, child abuse, or bullying. And complex trauma would be exposure to multiple different types of traumatic events, which can create unique symptoms. So, like, there's also things like secondary trauma, and especially with addicts, people experience trauma vicariously through us. And this occurs when someone develops trauma symptoms after being in close contact with someone who has experienced a traumatic event. So
There's a
that
lot of parents that are agreeing with that right now.
for
That
sure,
they're through the trauma of what their son and daughter is going through, where they're pacing the floors. That's traumatic. When you got to pace the floors with Narcan all night long
right?
to make sure he's breathing. That's called trauma.
And that's what it
Hmm.
is. There's race-based trauma. Colonialism, slavery, genocide, Black, Indigenous people of color, children, families. There's a lot of that goes on. And sexual trauma is a big one. A lot of people
Yeah,
experience sexual trauma as young, and they're a victim, and they either carry it with them or they repress it, or it comes out unhealthy later in life. I'll tell you what, in the rooms and talking to people in therapy, and it's like everybody has this. I don't, but everybody seems to
yeah,
have it.
right,
And,
right.
so I certainly never belittle it. Actually, it disgusts me, but like people are nasty. People are,
Did
so
I ever
yeah.
tell you about doing the intake that I about to do the assessment? And when a new patient would come in, of course, I would take the blood, do all the stuff we had to do, but I would also ask them a series of questions. And a lot of times it was just, do the checklist. They're tired, they want to go to bed, they were Narcaned a couple of hours earlier up in New York, and they're here.
Yeah.
So, it's not the best time to really spend. Sometimes they're high. So I was going through my list real fast, and there's a series of trauma questions, and it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning. And I said to him, I always made a joke, to get through it and explain what I was asking. When it comes to the sexual trauma and traumatic events, we try and get as much background psychologically as well as physically. And he looked at me. I said, "Have you ever been touched, sexually by, like, a weird uncle touch you at Christmas or something weird like that?" And I move on to the next. And he looked at me and he said, "Yes, my cousin used to do that to me all my childhood."
Well, like he just realized it, or
I said, "Well, have you seen it?" He goes, "No, you're the first person I've ever told." I said, 3:30 in the morning, but okay. Fortunately, where I was working at the time, there's a trauma team. We all had regular jobs. They're not just sitting around, but there's a specialized trauma team that I was able to invoke therapists, behavioral therapists, and have them ready to meet with him first thing in the morning.
right,
So it was employees that are normally there. It's not like you're sitting in a room waiting for it, like the fire company. Um, you know, there's a specialized training that they've had, and they were ready for his trauma. Everything was done with kit gloves. Um, Even some of the meetings were handled differently. And as far as I know, he's doing great. And this was like 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
hmm,
But I asked the question too fast. Never had anybody say yeah to trauma, especially sexual, to a guy. What the
right.
hell? And he was a male, and he said my cousin did it to me most of my childhood. And but I had to put my poker face on and say, okay, that's no big deal. Number one, it
Yeah.
wasn't your fault. And then I moved on. You know, how
Well, I
about
mean,
moving? Have you moved? Your
yeah,
parents alive? No, I would just try and go down the
yeah,
thing into that. But yeah, he was very relieved that night. It was quite a show,
yeah.
and I didn't see that coming. I got a sense on where everybody's coming from. I think I didn't see that coming.
No, I bet not. I mean, it's
But I was at a place, and there are things like that. So if you're honest and you try and work on it, there's people that are going to work on it with you. That's the point of the my comment, is that people are there ready to help you no
so
matter what.
if
You know?
people are holding that back, holding that kind of trauma in, and then they finally tell you at 3:30 in the morning in a detox. You know, how long
Right.
was that keeping them sick? I mean, how long was that
Yeah.
really keeping them sick?
Mhm.
Yeah, I know it's
And
crazy.
then I felt like his whole stay, I had to make sure everything was, he said that to me. He chose me to to say that to finally.
Right.
So I want to make sure that everybody's doing in this trauma team. Everybody's making sure his aftercare. I want a little more in depth with his paperwork and his files than probably I had ever done up to that point.
Yeah.
This was my guy now. Don't
Yeah.
mess with him. So it was kind of a unique circumstance, and you find out a lot, and you never know. You
Yeah.
just never know.
You
And I
never know.
learned not to ask those questions like just go through them, get through them, check them off, check the box.
Yep.
I never did it after that.
I I got to a point when I was going through the motions of group therapy and rehab and stuff. I got to a point, and I'm not trying to sound insensitive, just my I don't know, that side of me that thinks everything's fake. I'm like, are people just making this up? Because like everybody was touched by an uncle. He was, she, everybody in the room. I'm the only one that wasn't. And like, it got to a point where like you start to realize there is real stuff going on.
Yeah,
And
like I
like
always said, I want to be the cool uncle in therapy, not the creepy uncle.
you've officially crossed over to creepy with that comment. I warned you last week, Mike. One
Right.
more.
Creepy. But no, yeah, it's everywhere. And back in our days, not that we're very old, but in our day, it was like swept under the rug. It wasn't even talked about. You
I
know what I
know.
mean?
Yep.
In the 60s, 70s, some of the eight, it was never. It's not that it never happened. It just there was such a stigma,
Right.
and sometimes this wokeness and this being open has good parts to it. And some of the stigmas that are around that have been knocked down, such as sexual trauma, um, yeah, have done good things for people.
That's good. And that's, you know, if you're carrying that around and you like you think it's my fault, I did it. I'm for some reason I'm at fault. It's like mom and dad got divorced because of me because I was a bad kid.
Right,
If it needs to be identified and put in a place where you can grow from it, move on from it, move past it. You put it in that filing cabinet where
right.
it's dealt with. You don't have to live it anymore. So
Relieve
yeah,
yourself. Yeah,
sexual trauma
totally.
is a really heavy subject amongst the addiction community. So I want to look at how different types of trauma relate to addiction. So
Hmm.
like adverse childhood experiences in addiction. According to SAMHSA, adverse childhood experiences can predict earlier age of alcohol by Mike, exposure, high risks of mental health disorder, use of tobacco, prescription drug use, and the chance of substance use disorder and dependency. So yeah, childhood experiences can certainly lead to the trauma that will manifest itself in addiction. I do have a co-host. I don't know where he went. Let's see, PTSD. Um, it's believed to be due to a person attempting to self-medicate. Hold on one second here.
A
If a
debt.
if a person struggles with substance use disorder, they're more likely to experience new traumatic events and vice versa. So like I find this one interesting too because like you you cause you are now getting high regularly. So you're buying from people and down the way. You're overdosing whatever. Now it's creating new trauma on top of the original trauma. All right, I'll use me as an example. PTSD. We'll say car accident and divorce. So I separated my wife. I thought my life was over, catastrophizing. I gradually go down the scale. Girlfriend too young for me. All this stuff. I end up getting into a car accident. I end up getting on drugs. I end up getting a gun pointed at my face in Kensington. So now I have all these new traumas that are PTSD fueled from my behaviors now. Now I'm in addiction and I am causing new addictional new PTSD. So like, yeah, car accident can be it can be innocent enough. It's a car accident, but like for me, I every time I get behind the wheel, I have a I get a pit in my stomach and my heart jumps a little bit for a minute. Because I automatically go back to that day where I remember flying through the air upside down, glass everywhere, thinking this is where I die. And like it's so fresh in my memory. It was 3 and a half, 4 years ago.
It's
Um,
traumatic, and it's not just a word we throw around. That sounds very traumatic.
it is. So then there's that. So now I'm getting high. Now I get high and I overdose and I have to be Narcan and the cops and drug dealers. So now I'm creating new traumatic events to further fuel my addiction when I'm in active addiction. So
Well, don't
it's
forget the people we mentioned earlier. Your parents, your spouse is also getting layered. Let's call it for our purposes layered trauma,
sure.
layers of it,
Yep.
and it just keeps building on itself. So then, when you said something about secondary and how you're giving trauma to others, I mean that's the last thing somebody wants to do.
Right.
Um, but you are, and next thing you know, they have it too now. I mean, give stop the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
Get get some help. You know,
Right.
while they're still in your corner.
Yeah. Um, I'm getting PTSD from your dogs barking in the background there.
That's one dog, and she has a big mouth, and she's a Chihuahua Pomchi mix. Her name is Lucky,
Mm,
and she's very lucky that I kept her.
I
My
bet.
wife did not want her; said she was ugly, and
Aw.
she has never left my side. In 8 years, my left hip, always on my left hip.
Mhm.
So she's my dog. That's
So
Lucky. Oh, she loves her now.
I'm sure. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like with my dog, my wife wanted to get her so bad. I don't want a dog. I just went through 15 years of picking up shit and kids and all. So like my dog passed away, or we had her put down at 15, 16 years old, and my wife is dead set. We're talking like 5, 6 years ago on getting a dog, and I'm like, I don't want a dog. I don't want another dog. They're a pain in the ass.
You don't have to go through it.
I'm done. And sure enough, she ropes me into getting this other dog, and I fall in love with this dog. She's a Brittany Spaniel, and
So
she
wife is gone though, but dog is still around. That's funny.
pretty much, yeah. So,
Hmm.
so yeah. So we're
That's
looking
funny.
at physical trauma and addiction. Physical trauma and abuse lead to a lot of bodily pain. Many times, people will be prescribed painkillers to cope and numb their feelings. If someone is experiencing higher amounts of physical trauma, they are more likely to take more than prescribed dose to help mitigate the pain. At higher doses, can lead to risk of addiction. Yeah. So physical trauma, yeah, a car accident. Say I get in a car accident and I have a I'll use me again. I got in a car accident. I have physical trauma all up and down. And now um, this stems from PTSD. I also have physical issues from that injury. And like I didn't really think about it till now. I mean, the last 5 days or so, I have been as bad as I've been since all this happened. The pain, the sleeplessness, the type of pain, the amount of pain. I've been going through it the last you know week or so. So yeah, I'm on maintenance. I have my pain dealt with as much as it possibly can be for someone in recovery. But like I got some serious pain. I can see where this kind of pain for anybody who's say they're not an addict, not yet, but they have this kind of pain and they start taking oxycontin or whatever, and it starts to get out of control. Now
And
you've
then
just
they can't
created an
find the
addict,
oxycontins, and
right?
then
Yep.
we know the story from
Yeah.
being in the industry that hopefully that's stopping, and I'm sure it has diminished where people were. But there is a certain group of people that were getting it unchallenged by their doctor for pain,
Right.
and suddenly the government kind of clamped down on the pain doctors. So the doctors were all of a sudden not giving it away like candy corn. Pardon the irony there. Not giving it
Ooh.
away like candy corn.
Ooh.
Um, so they can't find it, and if they do find it, a real pill. And this is maybe 7 years ago. It's very expensive. And then
Mm.
somebody that they're buying these pills off of says, why are you paying me $60 every day? Why don't you just pay $10? You can sniff this. It's
Yeah.
heroin. and then the heroin morphed into just being fentanyl, and then they start dying. So this is how a doctor prescribing you pills, and then you obviously can't afford that kind of pillness. You definitely go into heroin because it's only $10 a bag, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
So
So as I'm messing around with this whole application and seeing what's going on, I can take questions from people.
you can
It's yeah, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. It says we have 77 watching on my production screen. It says I have 5 watching on my phone. Um, but yeah, I just if anybody has a question, feel free to ask it
jump in
because
there.
apparently I can answer them. We're new. I'm not really we're just trying out different things, different platforms. This is one platform. We're looking at another one. We're just seeing how it can go. Jim Libel, thank you for the props. Appreciate you watching. My friend Jeff Stackhouse, he sent me an email the other day, and this is a beautiful thing. This is why this program is so powerful. Just a kid I ran around with when I was 19, 18 years old, and he through the podcast he finds me and says, hope you're doing okay." And we got we reconnected. And he said, "This is anybody that says something like this to me, I gotta re-announce it. I have always looked up to you. You are certainly one of my best friends. I was hoping one day we could catch up. You loved hockey more than anyone I knew. I wish I had a fraction of your hockey knowledge. I love watching and playing hockey with you. Those neighborhood middle school games were great. Blah blah blah." He's a really good friend of mine, and it's just here we are 25, 30 years later, and through the podcast, he says he's got 15 years sober, and me and him did coke, and you know I was working for a professional hockey team at the time, and we're 17, 18 years old. We don't have places to go to smoke pot and be idiots. But for some reason, Timmy had a job as a communications coordinator at 17 years old for a pro hockey team. So we would all go to my office after hours and just sit around and watch highlight videos and smoke weed. And obviously for me, it went a little darker than that. But yeah, Jeff, I grew up with him. I'll never forget the day he picked me up in his '66 Mustang. He was breaking up with his girlfriend, and yeah, it's just it's fun. He was a great friend of mine. I'm glad he's doing well. I certainly had to give him a shout out to my friend Jeffrey Stackhouse. All right, so let's move on to trauma. Emotional trauma and addiction. Emotional trauma can be more difficult to trace. Things such as bullying or emotional abuse can lead to mental health issues later in life, such as depression or anxiety or substance use disorder. People who suffer from emotional trauma are more likely to struggle with addiction because they might use substances to numb the pain, to deal with PTSD, or escape. So, sure, I mean, yeah, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of touched on that a little bit, but
Yeah,
that would go under the chronic, I think, when the repeated bullying, and there was a stigma with that, and I'm glad that the woke population has done some good things. Like that's not a stigma anymore. You
yeah,
bully somebody, you're bad. That's not a kid you're afraid of anymore. Um, Bullying has come a long way,
yeah,
and it starts in the home though. A lot of that starts in the home. But yeah, there are people that have post traumatic stress from being in situations from what happened on the playground 20 years ago. Absolutely.
sure. All right, well, that's it for our trauma side of things. Mike, you want to do clean time now? Would that be fun?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it.
Bridget Shays, 33 days. How's it feel with the red tag? Nice. 36 days, Jason B. That's
Attaboy.
awesome. Love your
Attaboy.
red tag. TW, 43 days. There you got a red tag.
Looking good.
Look at Haley McDermott. You know what's around the corner? 60. She's
Oh,
56 now. And
speaking of which,
Skyler, look at them teeth. 58 days, I still say. John Brown, 83 days.
attaboy.
Valencia K, 85 days.
Almost. 90,
Katarina D. Congratulations.
coming in hot.
Coming in hot. She is hot. 89
It,
days. April R. 92 days.
I called dibs
Monty
on that.
Fani. Monty Fanello. 96 days.
Way
You
to
were
go,
almost at
girl.
100, girl. Thanks for letting us take the ride. 98 days. Michaela Booker. One of our originals. Love that girl.
100.
100 days. Frank with the sunglasses. I wonder if each one of those shades is $50. Oh, whatever. 102 days. Rico Denya. 103 days. Ronnie J. He sent us a nice note too.
He did. Yep.
Alex Petrini also sent us a nice note. 109 days.
Oh boy, AP.
And there's our girl, Samantha Hess. 115 days. That's no joke anymore. It's not a
Hey,
joke.
Sammy.
116 days. Anthony Seals. Still chugging along.
Yep.
Destiny, 120 days. Look at you go.
For Destiny.
Yes. Daniel G. He never got that beard trimmer. 123 days. And don't forget AJ Hamilton. 134 days. This is getting to be real investment in time.
Getting there.
144 days. Andreas Estrada.
Oh, boy.
And our original fan, our first fan, David D. 147 days. Where'd you go, David?
Proud of you, kid.
And Christian A. 150. Nice round number. That's nice. And 151 for Tara Dixon.
Looking good.
Look at Alex M. Up to 153 days. You know, that's crazy. Nikki Stones, 153 days. Remember the time you asked her to go to rehab? I said, no, do this. 156 days. Steve W.
I heard from her the other day. That's not me. It's actually Tony J, but I just thought.
Oh, just another heavyset guy without a shirt. 184 days. Maria Gladden. Glad you're here. 192. Look at the blue. Jen. Magda.
Jenny Mags.
Jared Black. 196 days. Still time, Jared. 226. 226 days. Randy G. Always kissy. Kissy
Always
face.
kissy face.
227 days from Jamie Michelle. She's been rock steady. 260 days to Sean Booker. He's doing this for real. He's up there. So is Ricky McVicker. Sounds like a race car driver, but he's doing
Cassie.
it. 302 for Cassie. She's newer, but she wanted to be a part of it. Thanks, Cass Spencer. And KDM, 334 days, yellow. And she has a little French to her. Enjoys French. 334 days, Patricia C. 335 days, Craig Clipper. Glad you got out of the hoodie because it's going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. 393 days for Will, the Bill. Used to be. Douglas.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
464 days for Tim Schneider.
What?
Should have put Tony J in that picture. 2 years for Daniel Gelman.
He's coming on soon.
2 years from Amelia Quattro. Stella Montez, 2 years. I'm telling you, she takes no shit.
No shit from nobody.
We're live. We can't do that. 3 years for April Pritchard. She has a little diamond in her lip. Did you see that?
A little bit.
Or Jeffrey S. He's the man. He's a good
ZZ Top.
spirited guy.
Kaisa
Kasha.
B.
4 years.
Kaisa.
Talked to her today via internet. 4 years. Tyler B. Still get talk about his appearance on our show.
Yeah.
6 years for Lisa Welke. She's doing great. That's had some real time. Look, we had him on our show 6 years. Simon Clark, doing great. I'm sure he's doing Halloween with the little ones. 8 years for Tina C. We've had her on the show recently. Married Tina. 12 years for Matthew Gillespie. Check out Addiction Support Network. 13 years for Neil K. Good guy.
Mike, who's the most important person in the room?
Always the newcomers. They got to
Always.
do tougher. Hey, there's Timothy F. 20 days. Thanks for letting us take the journey with you.
One more, Jeremy.
Jeremy Moore, 29 days. Means a lot. We're here for you. You guys got to realize that, you're doing this and you count on each other. And there's so many different types of people doing it. I'm proud of all of you. All of you.
Hit us up on our
We
socials.
never knew that it was going to take off like that.
No, not even close. Get some Narcan because it keeps you from dying when you are. And that's it.
You know what I read today?
But
Most suicides happen on Monday.
I see why.
No, see,
Hate
I don't
Monday.
agree with that. I don't.
Why?
My worst used to be Sunday. Sunday night. Sunday night would work me up about the week
yeah, I
ahead.
remember like back
Sunday
when I
night would get me whether I was in school or I had work.
yeah,
Sunday night I was on. I think that's why they started doing football on Sunday night so people don't kill themselves.
I remember watching an Eagles game till 12:15 in the morning and wanting to kill myself after that when the Eagles Cowboys circa 1998.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
so yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, but Mondays I'm kind of surprised at that.
Yeah, I don't and like see, isn't it is that a myth that like people kill themselves in Seattle because it's rainy and dank or
No,
is that like I
no.
know like
Again, we had touched on this a few times about seasonal affective disorder.
right.
London's very high for all of Europe. London's one of the higher. And
Yeah, I heard that too.
and there's a lot of gloom and rain in Seattle and darkness and grunge and but yeah, I can't explain San Francisco. They get a lot also,
Well,
and a
they
lot of
have a
people take a
huge
nosedive off that bridge.
homeless population in Sandy
Hmm.
Franny. But I guess the last thing we're going to look at was the forgiveness part of things. And again, this does not have to go hand in hand with trauma. It can aid trauma recovery, or it can actually hurt it if you don't go about it the
If
right
you
way.
handle it the
So
wrong way, absolutely.
yep, but the forgiveness part ties into the AA amends area, and you'll see how that ties into. And again, these are just things I came up with. The different types of forgiveness. I spent a while on this, and I boiled it down to these four: divine forgiveness, forgiveness of a spiritual nature. That, to each his own on that one. But there's a lot of people who believe that their forgiveness needs to come from above, and I'm one of them. Self forgiveness, forgiveness of others, and forgiveness for self. So self forgiveness and forgiveness for self are two different things. We'll look
Right.
at that a little deeper here. Forgiveness in general is a behavioral intention to refrain from seeking revenge. I found that one interesting. You're basically saying, "I forgive you. I won't kill you in your sleep. We're moving on." So yeah, so like I said, divine forgiveness is a foundational concept in many religions, as in is and is a source of great comfort for people of faith everyday life. For many people, such religious beliefs are a core motivating feature of their lives. That's divine
I'm
forgiveness.
Catholic. I can get forgiven for anything. I can do
Absolutely,
anything.
yeah,
Go into a booth. I can go in there, and I'm forgiven.
yeah. I was never Catholic.
But self forgiveness. There's another part to that. You were telling me about it.
Well, there's self forgiveness is forgiving yourself for the things you've done. So you're
So if
not
you were the bully,
yeah, so you're not or you stole the money or whatever. You
right,
you 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 seek forgiveness, but you want to forgive yourself for doing that. It's the guilt and shame angle we
forgive
always look
yourself
at.
for being.
So
Yeah,
if you're
I'm gonna
forgiveness
keep it as bully as you go through this. Like I was a teenage bully. You know what I mean? Like
right,
saying to yourself,
right.
"Okay, go ahead."
So forgiveness for self, not to be confused with forgiveness of self. This is when you've done something in need of forgiveness. We are the offender. We petition for forgiveness with the other party in mind, although achieving amends with this person will provide us freedom as well. So it does tie into your eighth and ninth step. Forgiveness for yourself. I did this. I'm sorry. And Jim Leibel says he's a recovering Catholic. um, it's important because and they're two very different things. Forgiveness, self forgiveness. I broke this down. Four R's: responsibility, accept what has happened, and show your self compassion. Remorse, use guilt and remorse as a gateway to positive behavior changes. Restoration, make amends with whoever you're forgiving, even if it's yourself. And fourth R is renewal. Learn from the experience and grow as a person. So,
So staying with the bully thing, it would be like I was bullied in grammar school, and I got to forgive myself for that. But I got to
yes,
forgive myself for being the bully
right,
in middle school.
right.
Okay.
So,
Forgive those who bullied me, and then I need to forgive myself for bullying others.
yes, but you also want forgiveness for being a bully, so
Yeah, just a
you
big old bully.
you show responsibility for what's happened.
God, I
And
hope I wasn't a bully.
um,
I don't.
I
I don't think I was.
I don't think I was either. I can tell you two specific instances where I defended the lesser of stature in high school. I remember they were teasing this. We had a retarded kid in our lunch. I don't think we can even say that anymore. Um, a Down syndrome or whatever. He was in our lunchroom, and these kids were messing with him. And
Oh,
I said to my boy, I wonder if Jeff is watching. He was there for this. I said to my guys, I said they throw one more thing at him. I'm gonna go over there. And sure enough, as I said it, they hit him with an apple core. So I get up, I I got my lunch tray, and I find the kid that did it, and I crack him in the back of the head with the lunch tray. Huge fight, got suspended.
you were
But yeah,
25 years ahead of your time. Now that's expected. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
To bullying is not cool.
Nope.
I don't think I got along with everybody, kind of.
Yeah, you
Um,
seem like the
I think,
chameleon to me.
yeah, I could be with the pot smokers and I could be with the band people
Yeah.
at
Yep.
the same party. Not that the band people came to a party, but
Right.
whatever.
My stream says I have 93 people watching, 3 likes. I don't like
All
again.
right.
This happened last time.
We don't
Like
know if that's really true. We don't
we
really
don't
know
know.
what we're doing for live.
We don't.
Can they see all this stuff that you're like all this technical marvels that you've put out there in the slides or
Well, if they're watching live, that's what it is. They're on Facebook or they're on Twitter or whatever on their phone watching us record. They see our faces and whatever.
this is what we do. It's not like it's rehearsed. I mean,
No, I mean
this
we
should
might.
feel like exactly what you watch in our
It
show
it
because
is.
we just two guys just sitting 1,000 miles apart having a conversation like we've had 100 times. We just film
Pretty,
it.
pretty much. Yeah, I we if you're new and you're interested, we get about I don't know, I'm lowballing, but just we get about 1,000 people per show that we put out. But that's over a period of 4, 5, 6 days, whatever. So the live thing we're new to, but I figure if we're recording anyway, it's the same software, it's the same thing. We'll just let people watch us live.
Yeah,
I don't
we're
know.
doing Sundays and Wednesdays usually, or Thursdays. I'm sorry, Sundays and Thursdays is what we
Yeah.
usually do. We're doing a Wednesday tonight because there's another podcast that would like to have, believe it or not, me and him as a guest.
Can you
Crazy, right?
imagine what is going on with this
What
world?
are they thinking?
I know. I for some reason I don't have this slide ready. Nope. It's Faces and Voices of Recovery. We'll keep you posted on that. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, when that'll be aired. That may just be the kind you listen to, not the kind you watch, but
Pretty sure it is going to
whatever.
just be the kind you listen to. But yeah, because
Somebody wants us
I know. Are you kidding me? What the hell? Yeah, it's Faces and Voices of Recovery. Come
to base
on.
out of Washington is their home, I guess, for the lobbying of the government purposes.
Yeah.
They're a very successful nonprofit. You should check them out. They are the granddaddy of where the nonprofit money goes, and
Mm-hmm.
they even help you every step of the way if you're trying to help other people in addiction. This is where you go for help, writing your grants, getting your funding. It's not only do they give stuff, they help those that want to also give.
Right.
So I'm pretty honored to be asked to be on it, but I just can't believe
Yeah. Me
somebody
neither.
would want us. You
Me
and me,
neither.
what are they thinking? I can barely not curse. I don't think I've cursed this whole time.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Well, just once. And as always, 988 if you are experiencing a
Yeah,
suicidal issue or a
don't
crisis in
kill
the
yourself.
house with an addict. Yeah, I've kill yourself
Don't kill
hotline.
yourself hotline.
Yeah. This is funny. This is from last episode. I was recalling the time in rehab that I spent with DMX, the
Oh
rapper that
yeah.
passed away. Let's take a look at that. DMX was in our rehab, banging everybody. He's dead. So
He's a rough rider.
yeah, Rough Riders roll. He was in our rehab twice, and I saw him buck naked. Um, that was uncomfortable for me. Yeah, seeing a grown man
Be
spread
comfortable for
eagle on
everybody.
his bed. I'm like, X, can I come in? Yeah, sure, bro. I'm like, all right, just checking. Oh my god, dude, you are packing heat.
It was getting hot in here.
Yeah, he would come out.
Hot in here.
He would come out to the nurse's station and read the Bible, and he would be rapping the Bible, and it was dope. I'm being honest with you, it was awesome. And he was up one day, down the next. RSSs are bringing him McDonald's and he private room. X ran that place when he was there. I'd call him X. That's that's how close we were.
That's
We were
how
friends.
close. Just call him X.
Yeah, we were friends. He asked for
We're
advice.
friends.
I would go in his room and talk to him unless he was buck naked. With yeah, X was cool. Yeah, DMX. Dude was in debt. Dude had no money. He's got 17 kids from 11 different women. I mean, this guy was an animal. Like, just give me whatever you got. I want to eat it and bang it and whatever. So like that was DMX, and I just this disease does not discriminate at all.
No, it doesn't.
So there's that. That was funny.
Up in here.
Oh,
Hmm.
man, yeah, Rough Riders anthem.
Right.
Yeah, DMX. Is what it is. Let's
God,
see. So
God
yes,
rest his soul.
God rest his soul. He was a character. And then there's forgiveness of others. It doesn't mean forgetting or excusing the harm. It doesn't necessarily mean making up with the person who caused the harm.
You might
Forgiveness,
not even. You don't have to see them ever again to give them forgiveness
exactly.
in your mind.
Really, if you're holding a grudge against somebody, you're holding yourself back because you're the only person that it's taking up space in their head and not paying rent. So like it's an important thing to forgive those, even if you don't. You're not saying that it was okay what they did to you is okay, but you can say, I forgive you for doing it. Forgive the sin, love the sinner. That whole thing. That's kind of what ties in here. So moving on.
That gets a little spiritual, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, forgiveness is kind of spiritual
Yeah,
to
you'll
most
feel
people.
better if you forgive somebody. How
Exactly.
many times do I watch my crime shows, my true crime network, Oxygen, ID network, and how many victims um, of the traumatic event, a murder, say, I forgave him, even though he's in prison. She's never seen him, but it made her have closure and go on. It made the family close it and go on. And that's kind of what we're saying. Like a murder show, forgive the murderer and move on, and you'll feel better.
Right. Right. That's you know, um, resentments are corrosive. You hold on to them, it festers, and you end up. Resentments. It's got a lot of sound principles. And they say resentments keep us sick. So like, there's people I don't want to forgive, and part of me doesn't forgive them, but I'll say out loud and I'll say to myself, I forgive what you did, but I don't forgive you for being who you are, being the asshole that you are. But I do forgive the act, because I'm not perfect either. And I can't, I may have done things that hurt other people. So I'm not gonna hold anybody to a standard where I'm not gonna hold myself. That's
That comes
but
back to the original. You can forgive, but don't forget.
right, exactly.
Sayings are a saying, cliches are cliches because they have purpose.
Yeah,
Forgive, absolutely, but never forget. So it doesn't happen again,
right,
is what I'm saying.
right. So,
Um,
and like you
is
said,
that true? Forget? Are you supposed to forget something when you forgive somebody? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. When I was in that little booth in the Catholic thing as a kid or whatever, I don't think I had to forgive anything.
no, you're asking for forgiveness, and that was
Yeah,
like a it
but
was like
I
a
don't have to forget it. Forget and forgive. I don't know.
yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
yeah. I listen. Bottom line is, if you're
How's
holding
the red shirt look on live on
it
somebody's phone
pops.
or
Oh,
whatever?
Mikey, it pops. Looks so good. So proud of
I'm
you.
so excited with Zoe coming and the beach balls she's bringing later tonight. I mean, she's
Wow.
huge.
She's
She's huge.
where's she at now?
She's just starting the third trimester, so she is 27, 28,
Wow,
26, somewhere around there. She knows
crazy.
exactly. Trust
Yeah,
me.
of course she does. Yeah, that's
But yeah,
painful.
she's so it's a January 5th is her real date. So but it's her first child, so it could come early. I know this
Hmm.
from nursing. There's no standard for this when it's your first child, and then
Right.
it could be anywhere from Christmas till Martin Luther King Day. I mean, they just don't know that exact. So, it would be nice, but we'll be on alert, and it is 6 hours away. So I know April saved a lot of her time off, and Obviously disabled and not working. So we're ready to go. I've even checked into flights if I want to be there faster from
Oh,
Philly that lands in Norfolk, Virginia.
interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, Norfolk. And
So
that's
they're
where they
about
live
30
now.
minutes. They're
Norfolk.
about 20 minutes. Hmm?
They live in Norfolk in Virginia.
No,
Virginia.
Chesapeake,
Oh
Virginia.
yeah, I was gonna say yeah. It's a big naval
Right. Yeah,
thing
that's
down
where
there.
he just got out of the naval. He has like 2 more weeks.
Interesting. All right. Let's say happy birthday to our October birthdays while we still have October amongst
Oh,
us. All right, friends and family. It's the beginning of October, and it's time to celebrate this month's birthdays. Happy birthday to Aria Lucianne Justy, Bethany Casimir, Robert Vargo, Kelly Altman, Chris Woods, and Tara Dixon, Mike Oxley, Deshaun Booker, Haley McDermott, Cache Odell, Trudy Gibson Horner, and Jessica Calabrese. Alex Petrine, AJ Hamilton, Tim Snyder, Sarah Copst, Benjamin Seymour, and Ronnie J. Let's not forget Travis Kelsey, Eminem in recovery, John Mellencamp, Matt Damon, Paul Simon, and Zach Efron, also in recovery. So happy spooky October birthdays. Not only is it your birthday, but it's another day you celebrate alive and sober. Stay safe this Halloween. No extra party favors.
this
So
has been a long
yeah,
month. I'm going to tell you, it's been a long month.
yeah, it's taken forever this month. I don't know why.
Hmm.
It really has been a mess.
I'm ready to move into November tomorrow. No, tomorrow's the 31st,
Tomorrow's
Halloween,
Halloween.
and then the first is
Yeah,
All Saints Day.
All Saints Day. So today is All Hallows Eve Eve, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Mischief Night.
Oh yeah, I used to get in so much trouble during mischief night. Oh my god. All right, so we're
I
getting to
did
the
an
end of
upper
the.
decker earlier, so when my wife gets home,
Oh my god. Okay, anyway, just for today. Uh, just for today, page 316 out of the NA basic text entitled Courage. Um, our newly found faith serves as a firm foundation for our courage in the future. Hold on one second. Let's get some. There we go. So anyway, Narcotics Anonymous is no place for the faint of heart. Facing life on life's terms without the use of drugs isn't always easy. Recovery requires more than hard work. It requires a liberal dose of courage. What is courage? Anyway, take a good look at a dictionary and it will tell us. We have courage when we are faced and deal with anything that we think is difficult. It's loud this friggin' thing. It's either burning your ears off or dead silent. I feel like I'm about to. Okay. Rather than withdrawing from it, courage means being brave, having a purpose, having spirit. So, what is courage really? Courage is an attitude, one of perseverance. Interesting. Yeah, sure it is. That's what an addict in recovery really needs is perseverance. We make that commitment to stick with our program, to avoid using no matter what happens. A courageous addict is one who doesn't use one day at a time, no matter what. And what gives us courage? A relationship with a higher power that gives us the strength and the courage to stay clean. We know that so long as we're in God's care, we will have the power we need to face life on life's terms. Just for today, I have a higher power who cares for me no matter what. Knowing that, I will strive to have an attitude of courage today. So there you have it. Yeah, I'm all in there, for sure. So, all right,
I think that's a good one.
it is a
Courage,
good one.
some of the alcoholics, I know why it's in AA because they've tried liquid courage.
Oh, absolutely, liquid lunches, and it just
Liquid courage. I've seen many people with liquid courage.
for sure. Without it,
I'm not that. I don't get that. But
no, but yeah, I do get it. I get,
oh yeah, yeah, I can
I,
totally see that.
I
Hockey
get it.
boy, I
Yeah,
can totally see it.
it's
Absolutely.
funny. I
So,
got in.
how many people do we got watching?
My phone says 4. My screen says 54. It was up to 90 something. I don't know. something. I'll figure it out.
I swear they only watch it for clean time. They
I'm
don't care about
smart.
us.
No, they don't care.
Clean time.
Courage. Yeah, I mean, I used to. I got in so many fights drinking.
Beer muscles.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten into more trouble drinking than I ever did using drugs. And I would put a needle in my arm with heroin and cocaine in it. But give me some Fireball, and I'm crashing cars, getting DUIs, and getting into fist fights, and it's just
People
I
that
don't know.
drank beer then would try and act like an ass. You know,
Yeah, I guess that was me.
we would call
So-
it PBR tard. He's a PBR tard. Has
Ribbon?
blue ribbon.
Yeah,
You PBR tard.
I get it.
Um,
So
So I enjoyed live, but it's nothing different than you would
No.
see anyway. I
There's
don't
nothing
see the pressure. I mean, these 76 people or 54 people could actually watch it in about 2 hours when it's put on the internet. But
well,
hey,
half of our audience is going to put it on the way to work tomorrow. That's
Right.
most of the people. You know, this live thing is just like a taking
I
a
like
shot
it.
in the dark. It's fun. Might as well. I mean, you know, maybe we'll
It keeps
garner
me on the
some,
straight and narrow. I've
sure.
said nothing bad about dot heads or indigenous or
Jesus Christ.
indigenous.
Just
What do you call it?
indigenous. Just
Those
Mike,
kind of Indians.
just saying you didn't do it is doing it. So
There
there you go.
you're right.
All right,
You're
everybody.
right.
We'll see you in a couple days. Mike, thanks for your love and support, and we'll see you.
I get